Good evening, Miss Naima. I am Luis Timontecahon from grade 11 STEM 6, and this is my 3D model for the animal cell. So I filmed the process in a time-lapse method so that it won't take up much time for the video. First, I carved the spherical styrofoam to look like the 3D model of an animal cell. I then painted the cell membrane or the outer part of the styrofoam red, and the cytoplasm or inner part of the model blue. Lastly, I slowly molded all the clay to look a certain part as you can see here. So these are the following organelles found in the animal cell. They will all be labeled later on in this video. All of the materials used in this animal cell is recycled except for the styrofoam. The clay, the cutter, the paint are all recycled. So as stated in my intro, this is a 3D model of an animal cell. So as stated in my intro, this is the animal cell. So let's first start with the outer part of the animal cell, which is this one. This is what we call the cell membrane, and the inner part, which is colored blue, this is what we call the cytoplasm, this one. So this orange clay is what we call the nucleus, and this red spherical clay is what we call the nucleolus. This bacterial-looking cell or organelle is what we call the mitochondrion, and in plural, what we call the mitochondria. This is the lysosome, and this yellow dots is what we call the ribosomes. This light green clay is what we call the centrosome, and this dark green clay is what we call the centriole. Now this white clay is what we call the vacuole. This Wi-Fi looking clay is what we call the Golgi apparatus, and the dots beside it are the secretory vesicles. This is the rough endoplasmic reticulum, this one, and this is the soft endoplasmic reticulum. Later on, in the last part of my video, I will put an image where all of this are labeled so you will know what their parts are and what their names are. So now let's first discuss the functions of the following organelles. So the cell membrane is the one that provides protection for the cell. It also transports the nutrients and toxic substances in and out of the cell. Next is our cytoplasm, which is this blue paint in the inner part of the animal cell. The cytoplasm is what houses all of the parts of the cell. It is a fluid-like part of the animal cell made up of cytosol. Next is the nucleus, this orange clay here. The nucleus is where we will find the chromatin, the nucleolus, and many more. We can also call the function of this organelle as the control center of the cell. Now the nucleolus, this red spherical clay here, is the one that makes the ribosomes. Now what are the ribosomes? So these are the ribosomes, this yellow dots found in this animal cell. Now, what is the function of the ribosomes? The ribosome synthesizes proteins that will identify a cell. Next is that we have our rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum transports the protein synthesized by the ribosome to the cell. And our soft endoplasmic reticulum is what produces lipids and conducts detoxification. No? Next is the Golgi apparatus. No? The Golgi apparatus is what processes and packs the protein and lipids from the endoplasmic reticulum. Connected to the Golgi apparatus, we have our secretory vesicles. Our secretory vesicles mediates the vesicular transport of cargo, example the hormones or neurotransmitters, from an organelle to specific sites at the cell membrane, where it docks and fuses to release its contents from the organelle. Next up, we have the mitochondrion, or as what we call the mitochondria in plural. The mitochondria is basically the powerhouse of a cell, generating most of the chemical energy needed to power the cell's biochemical reactions. Next is we have our lysosomes. Our lysosomes is what breaks down excess or worn out cell parts, or apoptosis, or the death of a cell or cell death. They can also be used to destroy viruses and bacteria. Now, the vacuoles isolate the waste products in the animal cell. Lastly, we have our centrosome and our centriole. Now, centrosome, according to Google, is considered to be the main microtubule organizing center, therefore regulating cell adhesion, motility, and polarity. So in simple terms, the centrosome organizes the microtubules. Lastly, The centrioles help in organizing microtubules that serve as the cell skeletal system. This is my 3D model of an animal cell. I hope